Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you've been following my channel for some time now, you probably realize that I cover a lot of watches from AliExpress and a lot of micro brands, mostly around and under $500. A little while ago, Christopher Ward reached out asking if I would be interested in reviewing one of their watches. And when Christopher Ward asks if you're interested in checking out one of their pieces, you say yes. If you're a watch enthusiast and you haven't heard of Christopher Ward, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Joking aside, back in 2004, they were the world's first exclusively online luxury watch brand. They were the first ones to do this thing, this whole eliminating the middleman cost kind of thing, and the first ones that actually make it matter because the watches are hand built in Switzerland, and this is reflected in the quality, but not so much in the price. In a nutshell, you get Swiss watchmaking quality at a fraction of the price. As you may have seen from the thumbnail, today we'll be taking a look at the Christopher Ward C63 Sealander GMT. And I personally think that if you're into your Rolex Explorer GMT2 look and don't have around 10K to drop on one, depending on which variant you get, this might actually be your most realistic option. This retails for around £960 on the bracelet, which I do recommend getting because if you have the option, always go for the bracelet, especially if this is within your budget. In this case, as good as this thing looks on a leather strap, I think the bracelet just makes this thing look that much better. How good is this thing? Let's get into it. As watch reviewers, we get to take a look at a lot of watches, and let's face it, some are better than others. And also sometimes when you move up in price, that doesn't necessarily mean that you get quality for the money. Watch manufacturers value their watches differently, and sometimes the increase in price when you break it down is very hard to justify. And here is where Christopher Ward gets it right. For instance, with all Christopher Ward watches, you get the 60/60 guarantee. In case you don't know what that is, it means that when you purchase a Christopher Ward watch and you're not happy with it, you can return it within 60 days and they will give you your money back. And also you get a 60-month warranty, which is pretty unbelievable. Some micro brands will charge you up to $500 or $600 and only offer 1 year. Let's get through some dimensions. Case diameter is, like the name says, 39 millimeters. And this for me personally is on the list with the sweet spot sizes, if I could say that. And the thing is that I also think that 7-inch plus wrists can rock this, as slightly smaller watches look good on bigger wrists than the other way around. But the size is just great. Thickness of 12 millimeters with a display case back and a slightly raised sapphire crystal. Again, not too thick or too thin. Lug width of 20 millimeters, and this is an absolute strap monster. I mean, this thing will look good on everything. A lug to lug of just under 46. I think for the size of the case, if it was slightly smaller than that, it wouldn't look that balanced. Finally, we have a weight of 74 grams on the leather strap. On the wrist, this wears as good as it looks. I'm not going to try and overanalyze this because the thickness, the case size, and overall universally familiar design make it comfortable in pretty much all scenarios. A black dial allows you to rock this with an array of straps to suit any environment. I literally had it on pretty much all 20mm straps. I had it around the house and it looked great on all of them. If you do decide to go for the bracelet, you might not want to take it off. Let's move on to the case. 3-on-6L stainless steel construction. Nothing crazy here in terms of materials, but what stands out the most is the transition between the two finishes. The sides are both brushed and polished. If you take a closer look, you have this polished strip along the bottom, followed by the brushed part, and then you have this beautiful chamfered edge that makes the transition to the top of the lugs, which are brushed. Again, I'm not an expert, but that's not an easy thing to do, especially when they're executed well, which in this case they are. The screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position has the Christopher Ward logo engraved, and this is protected by these semi crown guards. Now, when I say protected, I don't actually think they offer that much protection. In my opinion, they're there for aesthetic purposes to give the watch a more vintage look and to help with the lines. Speaking of the crown, between this and the screw down display case back, we have a stated water resistance of 150 meters, which is more than you need for pretty much all scenarios. On the outside of the case, we have this fixed stainless steel GMT bezel with the 24-hour markings in black. They're quite thin, which works really well with the bezel, and you can still get the Explorer GMT vibe, but in a very subdued way with the Christopher Ward touch. Taking a closer look at the dial, this is covered by a flat piece of sapphire crystal with air coating. I'm not sure how many layers, to be honest, but you can see pretty much everything on this from all angles. The hands and the applied indices are both used in the C63 and C60 range, so they would have, in my opinion, that Christopher Ward look, if you can call it that. There are a few variants available. Personally, I love this black dial version that I have here. It just goes well with everything, and also the orange GMT hand works better on black, to be honest. Overall, this has a pretty classy go everywhere, do everything look, or Godot, that Christopher Ward likes to call it. Everything is incredibly well executed, as you'd expect. And again, another small touch that adds to the functionality is the color matched date window at the 6. No date frame or anything here, which I think was a good choice because that would stand out. And this actually fits in the whole design aesthetic. The lume used on this is X1 Cis Superluminova on the hands and indices. And according to my research, this should last 60% longer than regular C3 and BGW9. Now, I have to be honest here and say that this is the first time I've experienced this type of lume. And in this case, from my usage, I didn't notice much difference from my initial tests compared to C3 and BGW9. What I can say is that the lume and the application is very good. It's noticeable, and also you have to take into consideration the fact that there isn't much surface on those indices. All in all is what you expect from the price, but nothing that would blow your socks off in that department. The movement powering this is the Swiss-made Sellita 330-2, which is a high beat 28,800 BPH movement with a 56-hour power reserve. Now, according to my research, this should be an improved version of the Sellita SW330-1, which had some issues with the GMT hand. This is what they call a true GMT movement, since you can adjust the GMT hand independently, and is also where a good chunk of your money is going. The average price of this movement is around $400 on its own. Also, Christopher Ward did a great job decorating the rotor, which is a nice touch, especially with the display case back. The Christopher Ward spec sheet says this movement has a stated accuracy of plus to minus 20 seconds per day. And I'm not sure if they regulate the watches on their side, but I managed to get plus 12 seconds per day, so it's within tolerances. Overall, the movement is a good choice given the price, especially if you're going for the true GMT feeling, whatever that means. To draw the line under this, guys, in my opinion, I feel that Christopher Ward is a solid option as an entry-level premium microband to have if you're in the market for a watch for around $1,000. I mean, this is definitely a step up in quality from the average $500 to $600 microband with a high beat Miura and 2 years warranty, and you can tell if you just spend some time with it. But there are a few issues here, especially when you move up to the €1,000 territory. There are other brands with a lot more chronological history and a lot more heritage. Now, my question is, what would you pick? Let me know in the comment section below. Guys, that was my review for the Christopher Ward C63 GMT. Please let me know if you enjoyed the video in the comment section down below. Thank you very, very much for watching. Click a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so if you don't want to miss any future videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.